Hi, I'm Susan McManaman, and I'm very excited to see that you are interested in taking my oil painting class with me. I'm pretty passionate about the oil painting medium. I love the rich, buttery texture of the paint, the lovely colors, and especially the fact that it is a very forgiving medium. If you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. What I have found though is that there are hundreds of items that you can buy to use in your oil painting adventure, and it can get a little confusing. So I created this little video to help explain to you the materials that I would like to use in our class. My favorite brand of oil paint is Gamblin. It's made in the Northwest, and I like this company because they make a big effort to create safer artist mediums. Also, the texture of most of the colors is just lovely. I only require 5 colors of paint for the class. The primaries, red, blue, and yellow, and black and white. So I will show you each individual color. Titanium white, cadmium, yellow medium. Light is all right too. Ultramarine blue, alizarin permanent, ivory black. My favorite oil painting medium is also made by Gamblin. It is a fairly new product. It's come out in the last 2-3 years. It's called a solvent-free gel. Comes in a tube like this. I think you can also get a liquid version of this, but this is what I typically use. It helps your paint flow easier and also dry a little quicker, and provides a little bit of transparency and shine. If you don't want to pick up the solvent-free gel from Gamblin, you can always use linseed oil to make your oil paints flow smoother. My favorite brushes are by Robert Simmons, the titanium version. And for my class, you will need a 4, a 2, and a 6, and an 8, possibly. Here are 3 different common shapes of brushes that are used in oil painting, and it can be easy to confuse them. This one is called a filbert, and its main characteristic is the rounded edge. It's great for foliage when you're doing landscapes, or if you like a stroke that has a rounded edge. This is a bright, and it's nice and flat. And then this is my favorite, is a flat. And those are, as you can see, it's much longer than a bright. And I like it because it has some nice flexibility to it when I'm pressing down on the canvas. And also you can see that you can get a pretty thin stroke if you turn it on the side. So there's a lot of variety in your stroke on these. Next item you'll want to have handy is a palette knife. This is my favorite tool for mixing paint. This is my well-used, well-loved palette knife. And just to give you an idea of size, it's about 2 knuckles worth. Robert Simmons is my favorite style of synthetic brush, but it is by no means a required brand for you. Also, you can use natural bristle brushes. This right here is a Hog's bristle brush. These are a little bit stiffer, but they are perfectly acceptable for class. Tape, of course. We'll be using some of this to tape down our canvas. This is a photographer's black tape, which I like to use, but you can also get an artist's or drafter's white tape as well. Either one is fine. Solvent. You will want some solvent for your oil paint. We use this to clean our brushes and little bits of it to thin the paint out when you're first starting so you can draw with it and do stains. So Gamsol is my favorite solvent, and also made by Gamblin. This is a fairly large can, you can see my hand there. So you can buy a much smaller amount if you want, just for this class. Once you buy your Gamsol, you'll need something to keep it in. This is my favorite way to keep my Gamsol because it is nice and contained and doesn't have any smell. And I like to use little bits of Gamsol at a time. So this is a nice little squeeze bottle, and I'll actually bring some of these to class for you guys to use. Another thing that you can use is often used by plein air painters is a covered can. This type of can is excellent for cleaning out your brushes. Keep your Gamsol in here, and there's a little doo-wopper in here, doohickey guy. So you can see that you scrub your brush on to help get the paint out. And then you put the lid on, seal it up, and no smell or spills. Another way, and definitely a cheap way to go if you're just getting started, is a glass with a lid. Some people will put a little piece of wire mesh in the bottom to give their brush something to scrub on. An important step in the whole oil painting process is cleaning your brushes when you're all done. And there are a variety of brush cleaners out there. This is a real common one that you often see around, Masterson's, or the Masters Brush Cleaner and Preserver. And there's kind of like a bar of soap type thing in here that you scrub your wet brush on. Or you put a little water on here and then scrub your brush on there. My favorite soap is Jack's Linseed Studio Soap. Safe, non-toxic, low odor. It gets oil paint out of just about everything. That's good. Another soap that I have, and if you are on a budget, is good old Murphy's Oil Soap. Probably one of the cheapest brush soaps you'll be able to find. And this also works fantastic if you happen to have forgotten to clean your brush and it turns into a little brick. You can soak it in Murphy's Oil Soap overnight and you will be amazed the next day on how it got all that hard old paint out. For this class you will need a canvas pad. My favorite brand is Frederick's Canvas Pad, and steer away from canvas paper because that is very difficult to paint on. What you want is a canvas pad. Inside the pad is actual canvas, gessoed canvas, and we will cut this up and tape it down to a board and paint on that. It's very economical, easy to store. Once you have your canvas pad, you will take out a sheet and you'll want to use some tape, either the black or white, and tape it to a board. This is actually a board from a frame, the back of a frame, and so that's perfectly acceptable to tape your canvas to. This is a piece of foam core. It's a thick type of foam core. I bought it originally for my watercolor paper to tape it down to, and it works great for taping oil paintings too as well. This is a little bit hard to find. I think I purchased this from Daniel Smith. But if you do have a piece of foam core handy, that would work as well. Or a thick piece of cardboard or a mat board, just something stiff. You'll also want a place to put your paint and to mix it. This is a piece of glass from a frame that's been taped around the edges so I don't cut myself. It's a pretty handy form of palette. It's easy to clean. So it can be heavy if you're taking it out in the field, but if not, that works. Plexiglass can also work. You can buy actual palettes. I don't care for the ones that have a thumb hole because it uses up too much palette room, basically. And I don't usually hold my palette while I'm painting. It's usually down on a surface. But that's an option. Let's see, they also have wood palettes. That's totally fine. If you do buy a brand new wood palette, you'll want to season it with some oil. You could probably use like a regular vegetable oil, but if you happen to have linseed oil, you can rub a little bit of that in so it doesn't soak up all the oil out of your paint the first time you use it. Rubber gloves are very handy for keeping your hands clean. These are a slightly used pair. You can use them more than once normally. This is a tool that's not required for the class, but I highly recommend it. It's called a view catcher. And I use it to identify colors. So I look through this little hole to help me figure out what a color is. I also use it to frame up a still life. So I might close it in to see if do I want to do this in a rectangular format or do I want to do it in a square format. It's very, very handy that way. So there you have it, Oil Painting Supplies by Susan McManaman. Hopefully this answered any questions you might have, but if it didn't, please don't hesitate to email me. I'm happy to answer any and all questions. I can't wait to see you in class. So we'll see you later. Ciao.